So greetings, delighted because today is a historic day, 13th October. We are at the Western Powai and I am with Gautham Pai, Supremo of Manipal Technologies in every sense of the term. And the reason today is a wonderful day for Manipal Technologies and indeed PrintWeek is 6th Prism over 15 editions now. So first and foremost, kudos and congratulations. And I want to know from you, I know it's a bit of a cliched question, how does it feel and what does it mean for the Manipal Technology family?
Thank you, Ram. It's nice being here this evening. It's a very happy moment. I think it's really a recognition of all the great people at Manipal. It's their effort. It's nice, but it's becoming a habit now. 6 times sitting often.
Good habit.
But it really feels good. I think the recognition is appreciated, and yeah.
You're right. The other thing that was very, very impressive this year was because we were seated with our auditors and the kind of feedback that we got in terms of just, A is of course examining the data, the numbers, the P&L, etc. So the growth seems to be healthy. There seems to be a certain kind of buoyancy with which Manipal Technologies is approaching. So again, two questions. One is the reason and B, what do you attribute this bullishness to, in the past, today and in the long term?
I think in my view, the biggest reason is the focus on what we're trying to do.
Sure.
Right? I think for us, when we look at Manipal Technologies and all its businesses,
sure,
the whole intention is in terms of creating value and impact.
Yep.
It is not, it doesn't have emotions connected to it. It's not a hobby.
Yep.
So that's why if you look at all of businesses, they look at scale, creating innovation, but with an intent of creating impact.
Yes.
Right? From all aspects. So I think that's what it's been. And I think it's in the last 2-3 years, we have also made some structural changes.
Okay.
Where businesses are owned and completely run by individuals.
Right.
So I think that focus for each business, I think is creating the impact. The external market, it is what it is, right? But I think it's the internal structural changes which have created the highest impact.
Sure. So also I'm sort of curious to know, because tomorrow is, the first day of Frankfurt Book Fair, and I just asked you and you said that to a large extent you don't attend the show and you don't get involved in day-to-day operations. Now that's one of the big challenges our industry faces, where, the gentleman or the lady at the, top, in a sense, is so involved in day-to-day ops that, you end to they end up seeing the, missing the bigger picture. So again, couple of questions. How easy has it been for you to manage this style of, management? And the second is, what is the process that you follow to achieve this? Because now it's consistent over 20 years, literally. And so obviously it cannot just be, a whim or a purely by fluke or something. Yes.
See, I think it's a very, very conscious choice, right? In terms of, my view is that if you want to build a diverse set of businesses, it's impossible for one person to be specialized in everything.
True.
So you kind of end up with a master of none, jack of all. So for that, you need a structure where every business is extremely focused.
Sure.
And the leader who is running it is completely focused on that, because competition is very focused.
Sure.
Right? So for me, it was a personal decision and choice on what I enjoy doing and what is right for the business, right? So what was right for the business, if it was diverse businesses, was for me not to be involved.
Sure.
Just to play a role of creating an environment where people can actually live their own aspirations and bring out the best in them.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
And I was not good in running business, and I didn't enjoy running business.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think, I left it to people who are good at it and played another role which I enjoyed doing.
Sure. Sure. But
so again, I think there's no right and wrong in this. It is up to people's, what people enjoy doing and what kind of organization they want to build.
Sure, sure. Right. But I know there was a time when you like to get your hands dirty and, tweak a little web offset sometimes. So do you miss that at all? Or, I mean, sometimes, or you sort of, in a way, the self-discipline is there that I shall not?
No. If there's anything new we get into, I like to immerse myself very deeply.
Okay, such as?
It could be anything. Like when we started the personal care business, I spend time in the factory. Today I'm spending at least 2 hours a day on AI, right? Doing stuff myself. So I'm very curious. It's something new, I do it, but it cannot be a hobby there.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
Then someone else, if you're not doing your job, if you're sitting and doing any technical work, then who's thinking about the business and the whole ecosystem?
So you've picked up two Prisms today. One is, of course, the PrintWeek Company of the Year. The other one is for the book category, and in that was a super specialization. And again, just giving you some feedback is that this year the quality of work that came in, which is fantastic, not just for Manipal but for the industry per se, is the quality of work was, I mean, up there. And it almost seems that India is in a position to cater to both sides of the Atlantic, as it were. So something has happened on the ground in the past
Right.
4 or 5 years in terms of spine structures, in terms of what we are doing with the book block, etc. Again, I visited the factory, and the last time I visited, I saw a quantum shift in just the way operations was, especially post press, because and I had this complaint that everything was being bottlenecked, and I don't know whether I should be sharing all this on camera, but I had some concerns which I had red flagged, so to speak. But obviously, there has been a huge quantum shift in this thing. I know you've said that you don't look into day to day, but obviously there is something in terms of the mindset that is operating at the factory. So if you can share what you're doing with the book operation, because personally I'm curious, you've switched something on and that's working.
Honestly, I may know little more than you.
Okay.
But I visited the book factory. We had the Ayudha Puja.
Oh yes.
So about 10 days to
ago,
15 days back, and had not seen it for maybe at least a year and a half or a year.
Okay.
So I saw a lot of changes. But from conversations with Sashi, I think one of the things which has driven it also is a lot of shift on exports.
Yes.
So I think with exports, there were a lot of needs or demands from customers, both on the capabilities of what all products in the finishing you can do, but also in terms of commitments and all of that. And I think with all that happened, the disruption in the supply chain, the Red Sea issue, etc., they had to really get good at planning. So I think the systems, how the factories were reorganized, the kind of equipment, I think a lot of it was driven by that also. Plus maybe a little by pressure from us on margins and improvement and stuff like that. So yeah.
But does that hurt inventory, inflation, what's happening outside in terms of cost pressures? Because obviously, again, that's something you're in a way far away from, say, your big partners in Delhi, Gurgaon, as it were, and yet you seem to be able to compete as well as people who are probably 50 kilometers away from them.
No, I think it's been pretty. We have not seen that issues, and I think some of the global issues. I see it only as an opportunity for us to realize that's the world we are living in and will live in.
True.
Right.
True.
And we can't take things for granted. So we kind of, I think, evolve to the next level, how to operate also in such a world.
Got it.
But I think the exports, there's higher revenue of exports on the book, and I think that will increase. That is helping overall improvement in all the processes in factory as well.
Sure. And what about some of the other verticals? I know I'm personally biased to books, so I end up having most of my conversations with Shashi largely.
Right.
So if you can share with us, because I see that there's a substantial amount of work being done on the other verticals. So if headlines can be shared.
Which other verticals?
No, within the graphic arts and packaging and, for example, security and so on,
I think there's a lot of work on security, but with technology, like, in RFID, there's some, like, a lot of work going on. There's some expansion in packaging in Nigeria on flexible. I think a new factory is coming up in the next couple of months. I think that, and of course, on the payment products and cards, that's a huge, Girish, the CEO and the executive CEO. So a lot of expansion that even globally, I think a new facilities coming up in the UK. One is already in Nigeria. So a lot of growth excitement.
And just again, curious, because this was something you had, I think, sort of planted the seeds prior to COVID about having, some outreach in Africa, and obviously one can see a realization in two of the states. So again, just wondering why certain nation states picked, and how easy was it setting up factories over there? Because obviously a lot of learnings that you all have as a team, as a process, as a collective, and how did that approach getting into flexible?
I think you mean flexible specifically?
That's right,
So in Africa, we started in East Africa first with labels.
Yes.
And of course, the label is a much smaller TAM compared to flexibles.
Plus, you all have had expertise in labels, so there was learning in-house.
And then, of course, the same customers were using flexible flexible packaging products. So that was a thought process, and it was pretty easy. I think, for us, when we look at any kind of manufacturing,
Hmm.
you can, if you know where the gap is, you can always acquire the talent today very, very easily. It's not like you are going to,
Yes.
run anything, right? So it's very easy. There were no hiccups at all. And there's been substantial expansion which is happening flexible in Kenya also.
Yes.
And Nigeria, because it was a much higher margin, a very difficult to do business country,
Yes.
which means higher risk, which means higher margin. So that's been really exciting. We had very interesting experiences there, including a CEO getting kidnapped a couple of years back.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but
I thought currency fluctuation is the maximum
that's been crazy.
concern.
Yeah, so that's been crazy, and that's been difficult because it's a in national investments, obviously. When currency is depreciating 400 times, you have an impact on your margin. Yeah, but it's been an interesting experience. And if things kind of stabilize in some form or fashion there, it's an exciting market because it's very underserved in every aspect.
True, that it is, yes.
But we have had all kinds of challenges, ups and downs.
Yep.
But currency, like you said, has been, I think, the biggest issue there.
Yeah. So what next now? Because I know you sort of plan 5 years, 10 years in a way. So, and also curious to know who's your fortune teller. I mean, who tells you in terms of technology that this is where one, whose brains do you normally pick when you need to like think up of new projects, new ideas, new sort of accomplishments in a way? Yes.
And there's no single person. I think I'm just curious.
Right.
And, I think it's a very collective thing, right? We keep thinking of new ways.
Yes.
And if you ask me, it's just the culture in the organization. I think it's the culture of the organization that we want to keep growing and creating value.
Yes.
There's a lot of room for experimentation and failure.
Okay.
Right, which we know is the very nature of business. There's so many businesses in India also which we had to shut down or have exited. Right. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and one interesting thing is that what happens within Manipal as a sort of township and the collective in the sense of the community, and because one had stayed a few months in Jamshedpur long ago, I always find a kind of a similarity in terms of the DNA of how organizations and the community comes together. And is that like a huge USP for Manipal in every sense of the term? Because you see that every even the local person over there has great pride in, say, something like a book being manufactured, which is probably missing in the rest of the country in that sense. That it is not just you guys putting ink on the paper, but there's so much more,
No, I think in Manipal for sure there is some advantage from a culture aspect.
Yeah.
Because there is connection with the family. Someone might have worked.
Yeah.
We have had people work for 3 generations.
Sure.
But also I would, more than that, I would also say the work culture in the 2 districts is very, very nice, the work culture. So generally people are, high on integrity, very committed, very helpful. So while Manipal people might be associated in some form or fashion, generally the work culture in that region is very good.
Got it. Got it. Final question, what next for Manipal Technologies?
We'll see next year.
The 7th one, inshallah.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramu.
Thank you, Gautham. That was Gautham Pai, and always a pleasure to have a conversation with him. And thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.